10-minute games. I'm gonna explain every one of my move and make it as instructive for you as possible so you can use the ideas in your own games. So d4, d5, c4, e6, queen's gambit, a very popular opening, and of course it's very important to know how to play it the right way. So I'm gonna show that. E takes d. I mean, hopefully, maybe I'm gonna just suck altogether. So I want to play here bishop to b4 and be active from the very beginning. I mean, I understand that the normal way to go is knight f6, but bishop e4 is also possible. Trying to be active from the very beginning. It's could transpose into the Rogozin defense after knight f3, queen a4 check. Well, now knight c6 is the only move for me because I have to defend the bishop, otherwise I'm gonna lose it. So yeah, the knight on c6 is not that great. I would prefer to have the pawn here, but the good thing is that I have some active pieces now. Now I can play bishop d7, or I can even play knight e7 because I have this advantage of the choice. Normally you have the knight already on f6 in this position, but here I can even play knight e7. That would defend the knight and the pawn. Although that would mean that the knight is not that active. Now let me play knight f6. Transposing into the normal Rogozin defense here, a very interesting opening for black when you play bishop b4. Okay, bishop g5. What do they play here? I guess they play bishop d7. I don't remember. I mean, there is queen b6, but then I have bishop e6. Yeah, I guess that's the way to go on. All the way back to c2, but now I have h6, and maybe even g5 if he goes back. I mean, that's risky, but that's what Rogozin defends for. To be risky, to be aggressive, and to get some initiative. And maybe even h5. That might be pretty annoying for him. Also, bishop f5 might be annoying for him. Yeah, now not because of bishop d3. But what about h5? I'm always ready to take here with the bishop. The point of the move h5 is to, well, threaten to capture the bishop, and if you play h3 or h4, then I'm taking it with a knight, and the pawn structure is horribly compromised here for white. So let me try it. A typical idea that hopefully works here. This knight on e4 is like a central piece of the whole picture because it's making sure that everything works. It's blocking the queen from some danger. I mean, yeah, the problem is, of course, that I'm compromising my king's potential position too, and I don't really have a good place for my king to hide. So that's risky. Let's see if he plays. I guess h3 is a normal way to go on. Because if you play h4, then it gives me some additional opportunities, like g4 with a tempo. And then the f file is going to be opened. Although, yeah, it's not that clear whether it's good for me or for white. While he's thinking, it's a good time for me to say that it's Journey to Grandmaster, and that's a place where you can improve every aspect of your chess game. So consider subscribing if you want to improve your chess level. There are so many useful videos on the channel that are gonna help you. Yeah, so the position is very fascinating. I mean, it's incredibly risky for black because your king is still in the center. You can't really, I mean, you can castle, but it's gonna be very dangerous. This way to castle is also very dangerous because there are so many white pieces here. Leaving the king in the center, it's also not desirable. So, but meanwhile, there is a huge threat for white. So you are kind of having this activity, having this initiative, and hopefully it's going to be enough to create some dangerous threats. Because even if I weaken his like h3, h4, I mean h3 takes queen e7, for example, attacking this pawn, he might just castle, and then this rook will come to e-file, and with the king in the center, it's just not possible for me. Also, the d5 pawn would be weak, so it's not like, yeah, I'm attacking here, everything is great. It's very double-edged. But I normally like this type of positions because, yeah, it feels like that is the area when I normally outplay my opponents, when there is a huge mess on the board, when everything is hanging. It's where I somehow manage to, I don't know, calculate the variations better or understand the position better, what is really essential in it. I'm wondering why he's not playing h3 for such a long time. I don't really see another. Okay, bishop d3. Maybe that's an option too, because h4 now runs into bishop e4. And then if I take, he takes with a check. And then I'm not really winning the bishop. I can play f5, but that's gonna make this e5 square available for his pieces. And I don't want to exchange because then all of my pieces would be weak. So there is something I should have here, but I'm not sure what it is. Maybe I just protect it with bishop f5. Then, of course, my bishop would be vulnerable there. If I play g4, yeah, he always have bishop takes e4. I might just protect it for now, but yeah, my opponent c7 is hanging. So that's what I said, there are a lot of difficulties here. I guess bishop f5 is the right move because, frankly, I don't see any other move. And that is at least cementing the whole position for now. Still, h4 is a threat. I mean, I could have played h4, bishop takes e4, pawn takes g3, and then the bishop is hanging, bishop takes d5. Yeah, but I don't know, doesn't feel good for me. Bishop f5 should be the move. Maybe I can somehow quickly remove my knight, my bishop, and jump by b4, but yeah, he can always play a3. If I take here, he takes with a pawn, and then b4 is covered. Only if he plays like h3 and I somehow manage to take and then play bishop d3 attacking this pawn, but the problem is my bishop is hanging, of course. That is a drawback of the move bishop to f5. So h3, if I take, he takes on f5, I take it back, queen takes back, queen takes back. Yeah, then it's not really fun. It's not fun. So what do I do after h3? Maybe I just defend, or queen d7, and try to castle, and try to attack here, but he's gonna also castle that way. Knight to e5. Okay, so nobody wants to castle, everybody wants to attack. So the first question is, what happens if I just play h4? The bishop has nowhere to go. If he takes here, I just take it back. If he plays bishop e5, I just play f6, and the bishop has no squares. But he has some ideas, of course, like f3, threatening to take my bishop, my knight, and if it goes somewhere, then the bishop is on f5 is going to be lost. That's not great. If I take on e5, he takes on e4, I take it back, he takes it back, I take it back, he takes it back, and then my king is exposed. That's not good. I can also start with knight takes, bishop takes, and now play f6, but I guess that's the same thing, just my pawn is still on h5. He plays f3. How do I respond to f3? Funny thing is, I might be able to play knight to e7, now protecting this pawn and still threatening to win the bishop. Maybe I have to take here first to avoid queen a4 check, losing the bishop. And then after f3, I can take it there, takes here, but it's not like I'm winning something. Still, he has a more active position. Okay, so what do I have? What can I do? Feels like h4 is a critical line. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop e5, f6, everything is forced. f3, do I have something here? I can take, maybe I can take the knight. Yeah, but still in the end of the day, it's like my king is so weak, so vulnerable. Maybe bishop takes, pawn takes, knight e7, f3. I can, instead of just taking, just go back. Because this bishop is still not that great. And then I am defending everything. Yeah, let me try to do that. Hope that my king will survive. Now I'm starting to regret the whole thing that I have started because it's rather more difficult for me. But there is no way to go back, so I have to fight. I can't just resign and say, okay, let me start a new game. I want to try to deal with all of the threats here. f3. So if I take, just takes back, his rook is active. If I exchange, I mean, what do I have? I have nothing. I want to go back here. The knight on d6 is pretty good. It's like controlling everything here. If he takes, I take it back with this knight. I'm attacking here, here, play c4. Yeah, he has a pair of bishops. It's logical for me, for him to open up the position. Maybe I can just step back one more time because I don't want to allow him to get those two central pawns. That would be great for him, but not for me. And I still want to play f6. I mean, the knight has no moves to go. The g6 would be weaker, so he can take and then play knight g6. Okay, so now if I play f6, he takes. I take with the knight, threaten knight d3 work. Knight g6, threatening my rook. Knight d3, yeah, my king is in the center, that's my main problem. Otherwise, everything would be great. Can I play g4? Yeah, I understand that positionally it's all wrong, like with such a king you can never attack. Maybe I can play rook g8 now and threaten the move f6, because the knight will have no moves to go. He's gonna put something on e1 though. Anyway, let's do that. I mean, it's too dangerous to castle king sides. Maybe it's not. Maybe I should have just castled. I don't know. Then bring the king to g7, play f6 and hope for the best. I'm still not sure that I'm threatening f6 though, because takes, even if I take with the bishop, he can still play knight to g6 and attack this guy. But maybe I'm threatening to play g4 and somehow opening up this g file. I also want to play c6 at some point and yeah, maybe finish my development here. He has a bishop. Before doing that, I have to play h4 at some point. Okay. Now I can just take. Because, well, this bishop is still solid. I haven't played f6, so that is kind of my advantage now. That the bishop is still protected, so like c4. Seriously, but knight e3? I mean, that's a fork. It's a real fork. I take. No, he takes with the bishop and controls that square. But why not? Ah, okay, he has queen a4 check. Yeah, somehow I missed that. I don't have bishop d7. If I play c6, what is the follow-up? f5? I mean, I really like my bishop on d5. Also, the rook is hanging. If he goes rook f3 or something, I can always take on f4 and then the g2 would be hanging. I mean, it's very tempting to me to play knight e3, but I might just lose. That's the drawback. If I take here, he takes, I take, he takes. I play queen g5. I also pretty much like it because I'm active here. Then bishop comes to d5, and then maybe I finally castle. It's not like it's bad for me. Another question is, what about h4? Just threatening to win the bishop. If it goes back, obviously I take here with something. If it goes f5, that's the question. What happens? Do I have knight? No, I never have knight d3 because of queen a4 check. Takes, takes, takes. Yeah, that's not great. So let me either play knight d3 or take on f4. Knight d3. No, let me take. Because I was calculating knight d3, queen a4, c6. Maybe there is even knight c6 at some point. Or just, yeah, taking on f4 with the rook. And then I don't really see a good follow-up. But here feels like the main problems are gone. I have Ferris inactive, I'm ready to castle. Like, yeah, I understand that it's still gonna be, yeah, it's still gonna be dangerous, it's true. Maybe bishop d5, but c4. c4 is possible. Can I play f6? It's gonna weaken the whole thing here. Maybe I should start with c6. I don't know, queen is coming to a4. Don't like it. Maybe I was too optimistic about this position. So castles, queen a4, king b8, rook b1. Oh, not that great. Maybe I could hide somewhere here on f8. Let me play c6 for now. d4. He's not allowing me to play bishop d5. I guess that's the right thing for him to do, but queen s3. Now threatening to take here and pin in the rook. It would be great for me to play h4, h5, but don't have that much time, I suppose. But first of all, the pawn is hanging. I mean, how do you defend it? You can play passively, but that's not a problem. Even knight e4 would be possible at some point, maybe just castles. Although I have to be careful with d5, and then if I takes with a check, and I'm losing the bishop. But the bishop might come to h3 all of a sudden, and as the rook is pinned, create another threat there. So the position is still incredibly sharp. Maybe I still have chances. I have just 50 seconds. I don't have a lot of moves, a lot of time to calculate the variations. It's rather intuition thing. But if he plays queen c3, I actually have knight e4. I'm attacking the rook, and the bishop is pinned, and the queen is hanging. So queen c3 is not a move. Then how do you defend the pawn? Do you play queen b2? Maybe you play queen b2, because the knight is protecting the bishop, and somehow everything is solid. Also, this queen helps here. Do I still have bishop h3? In h1? Yeah, I don't have anything. I need this queen to go away, so the rook is not protected. So queen b2, what do I do? Queen b3. Okay, now bishop h3. h3. I mean, hopefully it works. Doesn't have any checks to win my queen or something. King f1, I might even play rook g2. Maybe I don't... Maybe I'm not threatening enough. Ah, okay, that one I have missed completely. I don't want to exchange, so I'm gonna take here. Ah, the bishop is hanging. No, bishop h3 was so wrong. I mean, I still have something. If he takes... If I take, he has... he has rook e2, so... Ah, I can't castle. That's tough. Ah, the rook is hanging there. Can actually take it. Go back. And escape with my king. I have just 9 seconds. Check, check, check. The position is winning, but I have 6 seconds. Would it be enough? Checkmate. Yeah, wow. What a shock that was. I mean, this position is so